Hey, everybody, welcome to the Age of Reason podcast, where we are not for the faint of thought. You're with Mike and Alex, and this is episode 62.
Holy shit.
I know, episode 62. So, before we get started today, you got. Actually, before you get into your story, we should announce, right, that next week will be the return of Skeptic Sunday School, hosted by Reverend Gutierrez over there. And then I haven't had a giant dick in quite a while. So you'll be kicking off the show moving forward. We're going to try to get back into that. And then I'm going to end, as I always like to, with the giant dick of history. Or actually, we're going to broaden it up a little bit. It might not always be a dick of history. It might be a current dick that you can see dangling around in real life right now. So we're gonna try to shoot for that. And the main reason, just to be honest with everybody, is Alex and I were talking, and we are sick of talking about Trump, right?
Yeah. Obviously it's kind of what dictates, the news. He's not going anywhere, but yeah, we need to, a little outlet, something to take away from that. So
yeah. So people that have been around since the beginning or in much earlier episodes, as people know, this began as an atheist podcast, and then Trump and the whole political landscape. I mean, not to exclude the Democrats and all the shit that happened there. I mean, it just got way too big. So we're still going to bring you guys that news. As you will see today, again, our script is almost all about Trump. Not everything, but almost all about Trump. So we're still going to bring you Trump news, though, but we're going to try to get back to our roots a little bit, maybe bring some religion back into this, which is where you and I probably feel the most comfortable. I mean, politics was a decision to bring into the show when the passion was really standing up for the wall, the only wall that should exist, which is between church and state.
Yes. So yeah, we'll get back to leading that good fight, and also, I mean, still, resisting Trump, and bringing change forward, into some new elections and hopefully some new leadership. But yeah, so we're gonna go back to our old roots and see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good. And actually, speaking of old roots, our first skit was community service. That was how you and I started the show for like half of the first season. So, and you actually have something, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since, I think everybody that we talked to are probably tired of getting beat up on politics and religion. But yeah, I did have a recent thing, and at work, I work for a union, and I'm a I'm a step above. Pretty much, I'm a union supervisor, and I work with union operators, and we're redoing the contract. And for me, to be honest, as a supervisor, it was a pretty good contract, but I was opposed to it because I felt like it was taking advantage of some of my operators that don't have the same advantages that I have. So, talking to different people about why we should vote no, and things like that. And I had an interesting conversation with a Republican friend of mine. And we always talk about perspective, and for Republicans, that when they don't have perspective on after school programs, or things like that, they'll always say, "Oh, that stuff's not necessary." Just the whole bootstrap thing. So this kind of goes back to that. So we were talking about the contract, and the pluses and minuses, and my Republican friend, tells me, I saw the car that the CEO was driving to work today. I bet if he would have taken a little less bonus, and another vice president, he mentioned him, if he wouldn't have got such a big bonus, they could have spread the wealth around a little bit more. And I thought it was pretty ironic. First, financially, it's a pretty good contract for everybody. But second, it was just that perspective thing where income inequality, once it hits you, you realize, oh, maybe the CEO shouldn't make 500 times what the worker makes. So it was just kind of, to me, it was like a gotcha moment. And once I called him out on it, he kind of backpedaled and realized he fucked up. And it was just that it's interesting for me if we just give people that perspective, uh, and they're able to see things from a different view, how much it impacts their overall view.
Yeah, what I think is funny is, he starts talking politics and you're like, "Goddamn Republicans, shut the hold on, what?" But yeah, I mean, it is funny. I was having a conversation with a liberal, and he was wondering how. I guess we as in people that have this point of view, we need to make sure we're doing a good job, um, when it comes to explaining that we're not saying that hard work means nothing and that you don't need to do that. Like that's not the point. What I explained to him was, think about it like this: where I'm at, I'm at the top of my facility for what I do, and I have 15 employees that report to me, and let me see. Three of them are supervisors, and then I have an assistant. And so, like I tried to explain to him, we start off a little above minimum wage, but there's only one of my spots. There's only one of me. So we can't all be business owners. We can't all be in top level management. There's just not enough positions. Somebody has to do the work. That's just the way it is. That's just fucking numbers. When we try to explain that hard work isn't everything, that's what I mean by that. What if I have two great employees that want to apply for my job the day I leave? Only one of them is going to get it. And sure, maybe something is coming up for the next guy, at a different place or down the road or whatever. But if you work for a corporation and you have three people that are ready to be managers at every single site that has 20 or more employees, two of those employees aren't going to get, you can only do one. So I try to explain that simple math, but it's funny about the backpedaling when they slipped up. Another person that slipped up this week was Tommy Lauren. Glenn Beck cut that fucking rope real quick. So Tommy Lauren apparently came out and said that she wants the government out of our guns and out of women's bodies, and said she's pro-choice. Again, that's one of those, shut the fuck up to wait. What'd you say? So,
Yeah,
her and Milo in 3 weeks, both fucking gone.
Yeah, she's not entertaining to. Well, she's entertaining to watch for the wrong reasons, but
She's not as entertaining as like Alex Jones, though.
No,
God, he's.
I told you, man. That guy's.
Yeah, you introduced me to him. Holy shit! What is this thing? Lizard people.
Lizard
Lizard people and mind control. Anyway, let's get to the news. What do you got?
So, starting off yesterday, I had taken Sunday night off. So yesterday, I was laying down in bed playing some video games, and I get a Facebook notification that says, breaking, James Comey talking about investigating Trump. So I'm like half awake. I'm, oh shit, so I click on it, and I watched it for about 45 minutes. And it started off with Adam Schiff, a representative from California. He laid the groundwork for the case against Trump and Russia. And me and you have talked about it before, and we're kind of in the middle on the Russia thing. We're not blaming Russia for everything with the election, but then again, we're not, just letting them off the hook for, what.
Right. Tampering. Americans need to take some responsibility for eating this shit. As a whole, we do. So,
but he did a great job of actually like pointing out that connecting the dots of conversations between Trump's campaign and Guccifer, the supposed leaker of the information, and the election. And just, I mean, really, he laid out a good 5 to 7 minute argument on why the FBI needs to investigate Donald Trump. And so then the main interviewers were James Comey from the FBI, and I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was from the NSA. And so they're asking them these questions, and I was really shocked right off the bat. James Comey admits that there is an ongoing investigation on the Trump administration between their ties with Russia. And I know at first it's like, oh well, no shit, that's not a big deal. But
Yeah, that was my reaction.
Typically, the FBI doesn't comment on ongoing investigation. So he said because of the impact on the public's life, that this was such an important matter that he is the reason he was bringing it up. To me, that is important. And listening to the interview, it made it sound like there is something. There's a potential. I'm not saying it's there, but there's a potential for this to be something. I mean, huge, like Watergate or something. It's
Man, fuck Watergate. Watergate was one party versus another, and yeah, there was some shady shit. I mean, Nixon, actually did wiretap a psychiatrist's office of one of his enemies on the other side of the aisle. But I mean, this is incorporating. This is fucking treason.
Treason. No, yeah. It's just I can't think of a political scandal that's
Bigger.
this large, maybe ever, really.
No, I don't think so.
If this comes true, so then he also, everybody knows James Comey is the one that potentially, obviously, we don't have the same responsibility on him, but some people, Harry Reid, for example, will say that he lost the election for Hillary Clinton, and doing that with malice, that he knew what he was doing.
Right.
So it was very interesting to see him basically mocking Donald Trump's tweets as they were asking him.
How the fuck are we bringing these up?
And honestly, that's when I heard it, I laughed. I woke up my wife because she was sleeping.
It's so sad.
Because they're asking them, can you please respond to the president's tweet? And I'm just thinking, like, my God, this is the level that we're at.
And
the head of the FBI
and he tweeted during the hearing and said that the FBI just said there was no Russian influence that swayed the election. He tweeted that during, and he didn't even do it from real Donald Trump. He did that from @POTUS. What the
yeah, I mean,
you see why we have to have other things to talk about. This is just fucking crazy Twilight Zone shit.
Yeah, so the general feeling I got was that there is something there. They're investigating. We'll see what comes out of it. The other thing, and this is part of the mocking of the Donald Trump's tweets, but he basically put an end to the theory that Obama had wiretapped Trump Tower. He said no, repeatedly. The guys from Congress asked him about like 6 different tweets that all had the same kind of thing, and he kept saying like, I'm not gonna respond to an individual tweet. And it's just like listening to the whole thing is just like, oh my God. But actually, I did see today that Trump Tower was actually wiretapped. I think it was from 2012 to 2014. There was a Russian billionaire staying 3 floors below Trump who was involved in a money laundering scheme, gambling scheme, all this. So he was actually, Trump Tower was wiretapped by, I'm not sure if it was the FBI or a different agency, but it wasn't for Donald Trump. It was for.
I wonder if that's when they installed the server that's starting to come back up in headlines. It kind of made an appearance last fall, but the server that is communicating with the bank in Russia that is located in Trump Tower is starting to come up in conversation a little bit. I'm curious to see where that goes. So, basically, Trump wouldn't have had a wiretap in Trump Tower if it wasn't for his relationship with Russia, even back then. If it wasn't for a Russian being in Trump Tower.
Yeah, for his Russian friends. Yes, exactly. So, a little bit of irony, but get used to it. So we'll see where the investigation goes. I mean, honestly, I don't know in my head, as I'm watching, I'm thinking like best case scenario. I don't even know what the hell the best case scenario is. We end up with Mike Pence as president for the next 3 years.
I honestly think the election needs to be something needs to be redone. I mean, they like. I mean, you can't say that the news from Russia influenced the presidential election of 2016 without also, and I know this is too big, so I'm not trying to go there with this, but you can't say that it had that impact on the presidency and also didn't have the impact on overturning Congress like completely to the right. It affected both. Now we can't do anything with Congress. However, we need to do something else about our election. I think honestly we need to have an election between like Sanders and fucking Cruz. We need to redo the election if this is the case because Pence rode the same dirty fucking coattails to the White House.
Exactly, and that's kind of where I was getting at in my head was, I mean, really, if you have an administration that broke the law, you have to hold the whole administration accountable. So, obviously, this is kind of far away and a pipe dream. But if there is some implications of this and there are some charges that come, how we move forward does need to be talked about.
Well, I do. So, what I would bet would happen, because we're not going to have another election. I would be. I mean, that would be way far fetched and honestly too good of a thing. And notice I mentioned Bernie and Ted Cruz, and not Hillary versus Ted Cruz, because I think everybody proved their fucking point with Hillary, but and she's still nowhere to be found. So as far as I'm concerned, she's a sore damn loser.
No, I think she just tweeted she's coming out of the woods. So
what? No, she didn't. Really?
Yeah.
I must have missed the smoke signal. I didn't see it. But what will likely end up happening is Paul Ryan will be our president. He's third in line. He's the third person in line as Speaker of the House. So
yeah, no, that's unfortunately that's true. But again,
hey, but you know what?
I'd much rather have Pence.
No. We got there's fiscal issue. Here's the thing. It's kind of
we're gonna get to Ryan.
We got some news on Paul Ryan's stupid ass, but it's fiscally related, and that doesn't make it any better. But with Pence, you got fiscal conservative, just like Ryan. It's the same argument as Trump and Hillary. Hillary had some issues, but there were some things that Trump had that Hillary didn't. And that's the thing with Mike Pence is you also have a much harder stance on social issues than I think Paul Ryan is known for. So I still think a Paul Ryan presidency would be better than what we have now. But we'll get into what's fucked up about him later.
Yeah. So and until then, we got a little bit more fucked up things about Donald Trump. Believe it or not. But we talk about the world and where we're at in the world and stuff. And this was the Wall Street Journal reported that one of Trump's first acts was to authorize, I should say, reauthorize the CIA's ability to perform drone strikes. This reverses an Obama decision that took it away and gave it to the Pentagon. So previously, the Pentagon had sole ownership of drone strikes, and that created. I mean, obviously there was still a lot of gray areas, but at least we knew who was responsible. So our good friend Lindsey Graham, they were asking him about it. He says, "I'm okay with with the CIA being back in the drone business." So he, I think he got off on this fact. They were interviewing a Christopher Anders, who's a deputy director of the American Civil Liberties Union, and he says that the CIA, when they have the power, they have the legal ability to carry out drone strikes secretly, and legally can deny that it ever happened. So
what?
Yeah. The CIA, they don't comment on these things. So when it happens, and we know when they say, "Hey, look, we have the picture of the plane, the drone. It says CIA right here on it," and they're like, "Oh, we can't confirm or deny.
That's the same Photoshop that was used to show that Obama had more people at his inauguration than Donald Trump's. I don't believe it.
Yeah. So that door's opened again. I'm sure that will stop terrorism and we'll all be safe.
Thank Jesus.
So next we have another thing from our dear leader.
This is fucking crazy. This one you're getting. I was floored when I heard about this.
Yeah. So Trump, he's he's a businessman, and he was looking at the books, and he saw a big red 500 million that Cambodia supposedly.
Yeah, I was gonna say from a horrible country, right? It must be like Russia, or maybe this is the debt from China or Mexico that he's always talking about, right?
No, Cambodia.
Fucking Cambodia. Jesus.
So the Trump administration has demanded Cambodia pay back $500 million. So this originally was a principal debt of $276 million that it was incurred from 72 to 75. So we're talking a while back.
Vietnam.
And this, yeah. So this was actually for there was the regime. I think his name's Lon Nol. It's weird. It's LON and then space NOL. His name's backwards. But so this guy was the leader, and he got this money during a civil war in Cambodia for food. But basically, a little statistic here. We dropped 2.7 million tons of bombs were dropped on Cambodia during this time. And that's 1 million tons more than we dropped on Japan during World War II.
Now, just to be clear, Cambodia borders Vietnam to the east, I think. And it's either the east or the south, I'm pretty sure. But we were dropping those bombs basically that was in a sense, protecting Cambodia from Viet Cong and the Northern Vietnamese army.
Well, it's a little complicated. So technically, this guy in Cambodia was they were having like I said, the Civil War, and then as he fell out of power, that's when the Khmer Rouge came in Cambodia. Right. And we supported the Khmer Rouge. So it was just like a huge kind of a clusterfuck, basically, that came from the Civil War. And it didn't help that we gave them 2.7 million tons of bombs to drop on themselves. And so now...
But we're not going to do it without pay.
No.
Right?
For 40 years, that was okay. But now, Donald Trump, he saw that. He said, I know where I can... That's my wall, right? Oh, no. Actually, that's not even a fraction of the wall.
It's nowhere near the fucking wall. But, I mean, being president, it's a thankless job. You got to do the dirty work, which means going after the vicious people and the terrorist harboring nuclear warhead hiding Cambodia, which has been plaguing our fucking country for so many years. What the fuck? Cambodia? Whatever.
So, my next story here is actually not about Donald Trump. Not yet, but
I'm gonna make it about Donald Trump.
It's gonna get there, but I think this one would have been an issue no matter who was president. I can honestly say,
sure.
In my pipe dream, where President Sanders is there, we would still have this issue. And the issue is North Korea this month has fired 4 missiles into the Sea of Japan. So, I mean, they continue to test fire long-range missiles. These, like I said, fell into the Sea of Japan. The North Korean statement was that they were aimed at U.S. air bases in Japan. We know they're not going to hit where they're aiming at. They're lucky they take flight, to be honest. But
that could be a very dangerous underestimation.
Well, I mean, in the last they've definitely advanced a lot because 2 years ago when I was reading about their missile test firing, they would almost always blow up at about 1,000 feet in the air. They would blow up. So they are improving, which is scary, and they continue to have the same rhetoric against the U.S. They want to take us out. There was a propaganda video that was just released this week that shows a U.S. aircraft carrier being it's blown up, but it's obviously it's a simulation.
It's like iPhone app. The iPhone app where you get to blow shit up.
Oh, you're overestimating the technology of North Korea.
Or it's the fucking iPhone game that Arnold comes on. What's that fucking something strike? Yeah.
It's that's a little more advanced. It was actually Kim Jong-un playing Battleship. And B
patrol boat. Yeah.
So yeah. But no, the scary part is obviously their rhetoric. But so the U.S. is deploying. It's called the THAAD, and that's the Thermal High Altitude Area Defense System. And Russia and China are not happy about that because while these are defense missiles and they're designed to intercept incoming missiles, obviously they're missiles. So if you put Russia as the target, we are setting up a missile system that's very close to Russia. So and China.
Well, then maybe China should go slap little Kim Jong fucknuts around a bit and tell them to shut the fuck up. See, China has a no foreign interference policy. That's how they act. They do not interfere with other people's shit. But for some reason, they're all about little Kim Jong fucknuts. Like, they have so much business tied up in American interests. You would think they go over to little fucktard and tell them stop fucking around so goddamn much. Do you see what you're playing with this fire? They just saw your little leprechaun bastard and raised you a taller, oranger, possibly crazier fuck with the same size hands as you.
And the worst part is he was freely elected.
Imagine how fucking crazy Americans are. Maybe you guys should just sit the fuck back for a little bit and shut the hell up. But I mean, honestly, just China's foreign policy is business. That's it. They don't give a shit what anybody else does as far as humanitarian. I mean, they're buying up so much property in Africa, like throughout the Congo and all this shit, and building gigantic soccer stadiums around poverty, basically. They don't give a fuck. They really don't care. And that's fine. But if you're going to protect somebody, tell your little brother to shut the fuck up. And that was kind of racist. I call him little brother because they're both Asian, but that's not what I mean. But they're treating him like their little brother. Like we're the only ones that can fuck with him. Nobody else is allowed to.
Well, I mean, the relationship that they have is, something similar. I mean, North Korea doesn't trade with anybody except for China, pretty much. And maybe Russia. I'm not sure, but I did see that actually Russia is speaking with Japan for the first time. Actually, I should the other way. Japan is speaking with Russia regarding North Korea for the first time since Russia annexed Crimea a couple years ago. So we're trying, obviously more countries are trying to get involved and create a solution. But honestly, I think if we go to war in the next 4 years, I imagine, and I don't know honestly how much of a war you would call it, but military action in North Korea, I would expect to happen coming soon.
I think China is gonna. If China pulls its support or steps in, they can put an end to this. And I think right now they obviously know more about the situation than probably anybody else does, including in this country, just because of their relationship with that regime. I think they'll put a stop to it. They have way too much business interests, and that's going to fuck with their money if we go to war.